Alright, welcome to another series. This is my Lindsay Lohan series. It was originally on TikTok, now on YouTube, so you don't have to scroll. Yes. Also, I know that I am not the only person, nor will I be the last person to talk about Lindsay. Teffy has an amazing series on TikTok on her feud with Hillary Duff, and Mila Tequila on here has a great series on her feud with Paris, as well as just a series on Lindsay. If you want to watch them and support them, I would love that. I love them to death. But if you want to watch this series, I am here with open arms. And if you like these videos and you want to see more of them, please subscribe. I would love to have you hanging out with me. And I can't wait to chat with you in the comments. Please leave a like on this video. I love you. Let's talk about Lindsay. Starting off with her astrology, she's a Cancer Sun, a Taurus Moon, and a Gemini Rising. So she was born in 1986 in New York. Her dad worked on Wall Street, which we know is place where all the nicest people in the world reside, and her mom was an actress slash TV personality slash rockette, I don't know, but her life became Lindsay, of course. She also has a sister named Allie and two brothers, Michael Jr. and Cody, and her dad had a lot of addiction issues. He said that it began with alcohol, but then drug use often followed that. In 1989, Lindsay started at the Ford modeling agency, and she was only 3 years old at the time, and they started booking commercials for her right away. She did a ton of ads, including Toys R Us, Calvin Klein, Abercrombie, Jell-O, which she did with Bill Cosby. But just a year after she started with the Ford modeling agency, her dad went to jail for insider trading, and he spent 3 years in prison. In 1996, Lindsay gets a small role on Another World, which was a soap opera from what I gather. It seems like it's her first role really acting on a TV show. But in 1997, Lindsay is filming for The Parent Trap. Unfortunately, her dad ends up going to jail again because he violated his probation by visiting her on set, which is unfortunate. So as you can probably tell, Lindsay was playing twins in this movie, and she said that to get into character, one, the costumes were obviously helpful, but she said that also the cast and crew would completely change their demeanor around her depending on which twin she was playing. So Lindsay was filming for The Parent Trap for 8 months. She was 10 at the time, and she had to leave school completely to do it. But she did say that she told everybody at school that she was going on just a super long vacation. Just an 8-month-long vacation. But then, when The Parent Trap came out, everyone realized that that was her. So then she had to say, well, you know, I was also casually starring in a movie while I was on that 8-month vacation. No big deal. Of course, the movie was a hit, and it got her a 3-movie contract with Disney. And the first of those movies was Life Size with Tyra Banks, which is a fantastic movie. It came out in March 5th of 2000. So now we're going to move on to Lindsay in high school. So she has said that she was a floater in high school, and also that she really made a concerted effort to be super nice to people because she knew that they were probably assuming that she was really full of herself and probably a little bit rude because she was in movies and pretty famous at this point. She did end up starting homeschooling though junior year of high school. And then June 28th of 2002, her next movie, Get a Clue, comes out. And in that year, she also has a bit of drama with a certain boy named Aaron Carter. So in 2002, Aaron was actually dating Hillary Duff at the time, but according to Aaron, he got bored, so he decided he would start hanging out with Lindsay, because that's totally appropriate. He and Hillary obviously broke up over this, although they did later get back together and then break up again because he cheated on her again with someone else. So August 6, 2003, Lindsay's newest movie, Freaky Friday, is released, which this is an absolute classic. So at the premiere for Freaky Friday, who shows up but Hillary Duff? And to be fair, she was invited by Chad Michael Murray, who was Lindsay's love interest in this movie. I'm guessing that it really was the producers, but they had no idea the kind of flames that they were fanning at this point. And clearly there was still a lot of bitter feelings. So then in December of 2003, Lindsay decides she'd like to attend the Cheaper by the Dozen premiere. And what do you know? Hillary is starring in that movie. I was just as annoyed by Lindsay showing up at her premiere as Lindsay had been by Hillary showing up, if not more so. In fact, Hillary and her mom tried to get her to leave, get a bodyguard to physically remove her. But of course, Lindsay and her agent said, no, we were invited here. So then Hillary and her mom went to the studio executives, trying to get Lindsay to leave, and they said no because we invited her here. So at that point, Hillary and her mom just decided to exit the scene. Of course, Hillary's agent said that she just had an early flight in the morning. That's why she had to skirt out early, but I'm not sure I buy that. So then in 2004, Chad Michael Murray starts working on a Cinderella story with Hillary Duff, which I'm guessing that's why he invited her to the premiere, kind of a sneak peek publicity thing. Anyways, Lindsay calls him up to talk shit about Hillary while he's working on the movie with her. But February 17th, 2004, Lindsay has her own movie come out, Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, which I love. At 22 years old, I am still listening to this song at least once a week. So Lindsay also does an interview where she's asked to say something that nobody knows, and she says, "I love you, Hillary Duff," but like the way that I just said it, so not sincerely. And also in 2004, Lindsay's dad is charged with a DUI and attempted assault, and the assault was on Lindsay's uncle, her mother's brother. And he went to prison for 2.5 years for that. Then on April 30th of 2004, we are graced with Mean Girls. Originally, Lindsay wanted the part of Regina, but upon further consideration, she decided that she didn't want her fan base to think she was a mean girl, so she decided to go for Katie instead. So she did an interview while she was working on Mean Girls, and they asked her about beauty standards, and she said she didn't really feel pressure to be thinner, but she did feel pressure to be sexier. She also talked about her fight with Hillary Duff that was, of course, all over the tabloids, and said that it was completely made up, and also called it the R word, which I guess at this time people didn't really have as much of a problem with saying, but I won't be saying it, so. In May of 2004, Lindsay hosts SNL, and they do a little bit poking fun at Hillary Duff. There's Hillary Duff. But Hillary was not a fan, and she said that, "I don't think it's an honor to be made fun of on SNL." I would feel honored, so if anyone on SNL is interested in making fun of me, I am open. Unfortunately, their premiere feuds came to an end because Hillary straight up banned Lindsay from the Cinderella Stories premiere. What we did not see behind the scenes of SNL, though, was a pretty serious discussion that Lindsay had with a couple cast members. For one, Amy Poehler told Lindsay straight up, "You're too thin. I don't know what it is. I'm not even going to ask, but you're too thin and it's not okay." And then right before the SNL actually was shot, Tina Fey and Lorne Michaels, who's the producer of SNL, sat Lindsay down and told her basically stories of drug use that they had seen and that they'd witnessed over the years, people going down bad paths. And she just started crying because she said she knew she had a problem. She just didn't want to admit it. She also said that when her siblings saw her on SNL, her brother and sister were terrified for her and were really concerned because she had dropped so much weight. Then in May 2004, Lindsay is spotted with Wilmer Valderrama, and she happens to be 17 and he happens to be 24. So of course, they didn't confirm any relationship at first. But then in July 2004, Lindsay turns 18, and surprise, it turns out her and Wilmer are dating. Seems like suspicious timing. Either he was waiting for her to turn 18 or they were dating the whole time, and either way, it's weird. They said that they wanted to keep their relationship private because it made it more special, but I'm guessing it was because she wasn't of legal age yet. And he also got her a role on That 70s Show briefly, but she ended up having to drop that role because she was just too busy. In October 2004, we get an interview from Hillary in which she says, "Sometimes I really hate Lindsay Lohan." And then also in October 21st, Lindsay is hospitalized for heat exhaustion and a high fever on the set of Herbie Fully Loaded. And it turns out that this was a kidney infection, and she has said later on that that was her body's cry for help based on her drug use and her bulimia at the time. And here's Lindsay on That 70s Show with Wilmer, but they broke up. So November of 2004, Lindsay and Wilmer Valderrama break up, and they say they're still friends. I don't buy that almost ever. But Lindsay was busy working on a lot of projects, so she seemed to be fine. Although the rumor was that Wilmer broke up with her to date Ashley Simpson. But that was never confirmed, of course. Just a rumor. Then December 7th, 2004, Lindsay releases her first album, Speak. A couple songs on it she had was Rumors, which was about wanting the paparazzi to leave her alone, and Over, which was about her breakup with Wilmer. Also in December of 2004, Hillary has moved on to Joel Madden, who is in the band Good Charlotte, And Lindsay's brother happens to want an autograph from him because he likes Good Charlotte. And Joel Madden denies this 8-year-old child the autograph until his older sister apologizes to Hillary, as if this dude has any sway over that whole debacle. Also in December of 2004, we get a comment on Lindsay from ye old Donnie Trump. Yes, the former president was speaking about Lindsay Lohan, and not in a cute way. He said she was hot, but you have to like freckles, and then talked about looking at a close-up of her chest. And he was also saying that since she seemed to be a little bit troubled, she was probably great in bed. Which, she's 18, it's legal, but let's refrain, okay? In the beginning of 2005, Lindsay's mom files for divorce from her dad, which kind of seemed like a long time coming. And Lindsay reportedly was trying to squash the beef with Hillary and called her up, but Hillary Duff, Hillary's older sister, answered and hung up on her. In February of 2005, Lindsay is filming for Just My Luck in New Orleans, and some not-so-nice press comes out about her. People on set were saying that they had to use stand-ins for the majority of the scenes where her face wasn't shown, and that she was always throwing fits and messing up her lines. Plus, there was a ton of pictures of her out partying in New Orleans, although she was underage. Good news for Lindsay in February, though, is that Mattel announces that Lindsay's going to have a My Scene doll, which is like the edgy version of Barbie. And of course, as we know, Mattel is a huge sign of stardom. If you can get a Barbie deal, you have made it. Also, does anyone remember these My Scene games on Barbie.com? Because nothing has ever felt the same since. These games were my everything. Then, February 22nd, 2005, Paris Hilton's sidekick is hacked, revealing some messages between her and Lindsay. And these are the messages, if you want to pause and look at them. Basically, they talk about setting up Ashley Simpson doing in the bathroom and seeing Jessica Simpson doing it in the bathroom. Also, side note, Lindsay signed these all off with, God bless. So in May of 2005, rumors start swirling around that Lindsay is suffering from an eating disorder. She had just dyed her hair blonde and she was starting to look super thin and just kind of a little bit unhealthy. Of course, she denied these rumors. She said she was happy, she loved food, and that she was just getting fit and eating healthy for a new role. In June of 2005, Herbie Fully Loaded is released. And then in November of 2005, Lindsay releases a second album titled A Little More Personal, in parentheses, Raw. And she had one particular song on that album called Confessions of a Broken Heart, which was about her childhood, and there's a music video which Allie, her little sister, plays her in while her parents are fighting. In January of 2006, Lindsay does an interview for Vanity Fair with this really pretty cover, and she admits to having been bulimic and to having used drugs in the past. She only said that she had experimented with them a little bit, and then when they specifically ask her about blow, she doesn't want to talk about it and claims it's a sore subject because she almost lost a family member to addiction, which I think she's talking about her dad. And she was also very insistent that now she's completely fine in both areas. May 12th, 2006, Just My Luck is released, and unfortunately, she did win a raspberry for this role. But she was all good, because she was hanging out with Stavros. Yes, Stavros. He's back again. At first, they were just spotted hanging out, but then, after him and Paris broke up, like 5 days later, supposedly they were seen kissing. And if you saw my Mary-Kate and Ashley series, you know that Mary-Kate was dating Stavros and introduced him to Paris, who then stole her man. And then now Lindsay is also on the Stavros train. They just can't get enough of him. But Paris was pretty pissed. And a few days later, the paparazzi catch Brandon in Paris, and Brandon Davis starts making a ton of rude comments about Lindsay. He says, I think she's worth about $7 million, which means she's really poor. It's disgusting. Good to know that $7 million is the benchmark for poverty. He also called her a fire crotch and said that her lady parts shit freckles, which is just uncalled for. And Paris didn't technically say anything, but she was laughing at it, as you can probably see, which is not really best friend behavior, although I guess hooking up with your ex is not best friend behavior either on Lindsay's part. Brandon did end up apologizing to Lindsay and to the public, but not before he released a fire crotch song and was wearing a fire crotch shirt. Here he is, Team Firecrotch. And if you want to listen to the Firecrotch song, I'm pretty sure Mila Tequila has it in her video about Lindsay, which I highly recommend watching because she's awesome. And obviously Lindsay was pretty pissed about this. She left Paris an angry voicemail about it, and Paris was seen listening to it and laughing, and then called Lindsay the C word. So rage is still there. And this is her movie, A Prairie Home Companion, which was released in June of 2006. It was an indie film, and Lindsay said she really enjoyed filming it, especially because they had very long takes, so it was almost like a play. And of course, this movie also had an amazing cast, including Meryl Streep, so she loved working with the big names. In an interview that she did on set, she said that she really liked that she was away from LA and New York for a while, and that she wasn't the girl everyone thought she was when it came to partying. She also said she knew this was more of an adult role and that her fan base was obviously a bit young for this, but that she just really wanted to do something for herself. July 26th of 2006, though, while she's working on Georgia Rule, Lindsay is hospitalized for heat exhaustion, which I'm pretty sure just means she was hungover. Her boss on set of Georgia Rule was not happy at all, and he actually sent her a letter telling her that she was acting super unprofessional on set, had been showing up late, not showing up at all, etc., and that if she didn't get her act together, they would sue her. In August of 2006, Lindsay does an interview with Elle, and she looks so pretty. I love this cover. First, she said she never even watched the Firecrotch video, not even gonna entertain it. But then she decides to hit Paris with that 1-2 and says, obviously, Paris is very comfortable making videos, which is a reference to the tape that was released of Paris, One Night in Paris, that she did not want released, and she's actually very ashamed of, so it is kind of a low blow. Lindsay also said that they prank called her that night after that whole incident, but that she was not going to fight with anyone over a boy and that was bad karma. So I guess she learned from the Hillary Duff debacle and decided. Then in September of 2006, Lindsay is hospitalized for a fractured wrist that she got during a fashion show. Apparently she was wearing flat boots, but the floor was just really slippery. October of 2006, we just see plenty of pictures of Lindsay partying, having a ball. And then October 31st, 2006, Lindsay's little sister, Allie, releases a Christmas album called Lohan Holiday. And that would kick off her music career, which Lindsay was very supportive of and has always been super supportive of her sister. November 2nd, 2006, we get this picture of Lindsay, and she's wearing a red chip, the kind of chips that are associated with AA programs. Her agent shoves it off, though, and says that it's actually a chip that she's wearing in support of a friend. How supportive. How cute. Other people, though, said that really it couldn't be hers because it was a 90-day sober chip, and she was being constantly photographed out partying and intoxicated, so probably not 90 days sober. But it could have been a hope chip, which is apparently a 90-day sober chip that they give you to keep you motivated to actually earn it. So maybe that's it. So November 9th, 2006, Lindsay is out partying, the paparazzi catch her, here she is, and she calls Paris a C word. But when they ask her to say it again, she claims she never said that and that she loves Paris and they're friends. Weird. Then on the 17th of November, her movie Bobby, about Bobby Kennedy, comes out. And then the next week, at a nightclub, the paparazzi have her on camera again saying that Paris hit her and that it's not okay. And basically that she just wants to live her life and have her career, and she doesn't know why Paris is after her. And the very next day, we are gifted the iconic photos of Paris and Brittany and Lindsay leaving the club together, and they're claiming that they're great friends. And people have said that Lindsay was very jealous of their friendship, Brittany and Paris's, so maybe she was in on it now, but clearly not really. So Paris tells Lindsay to tell the paparazzi the truth, and then Lindsay says, Paris never hit me, she would never do anything like that. So the record is set straight. But Paris has said more recently that Lindsay actually got in the car uninvited and they just wanted to be nice. Other people say, though, that this was just completely staged by their publicists to get rid of the tabloids talking about them, which we all know would never end up happening. Come on. Then at the end of November, Lindsay goes to the GQ Men of the Year Awards event with her mom and sees her former assistant there with Jessica Biel. And she caused a huge scene demanding that the assistant leaves. I have no idea what the beef was between them, but she was basically saying that an assistant had no business being there if a star didn't want them. And at one point, Will Ferrell said to someone else, who cares about that freak anymore anyways? Yikes. But basically, nobody took her seriously and ignored her the whole night. Then in December, Lindsay's mom goes on Ryan Seacrest and says that Lindsay actually does go to AA meetings. But don't worry, she's just going with her friends to be supportive. Suspiciously supportive. Her mom basically said that Lindsay's 20 and she can't stop her from going out, but at least she's getting the knowledge of the AA sessions. But then on December 12th, Lindsay does an interview with People to let them know that she actually is in AA, and she has been for about a year. She also said that she hadn't had a drink in a week, so she was making progress. So we're into 2007, and in 2007, Lindsay's mom and dad get divorced. And they were basically just finalizing it because they were separated for most of her childhood. But we find out later that her dad actually had another kid from when her parents were briefly separated in 1995 as well. And then in January of 2007, Lindsay checks herself in to rehab at Wonderland Center in LA. She was going for 30 days, and apparently before that she had been partying a lot and actually passed out in a hotel hallway, so that was kind of the it's clearly time moment. She was still working on I Know Who Killed Me at the time though, which doesn't really sound healthy to just keep pushing yourself. So in March of 2007, Lindsay's dad is released from prison, and once he gets released, he really starts talking about Lindsay all the time in the press. And Lindsay said that this is when things really started to get bad for her. Also in March, she's back partying again, and there's rumors that she's hooking up with Jude Law, and also James Blunt, and also Stavros, and also Ryan Philippe. All, of course, varying degrees of confirmation on that, but she's getting them in. April 19, 2007, Lindsay's MySpace is hacked. And we don't know for sure if it was hacked. I mean, it could have been Photoshop or somebody's fake account. But if it is her, very interesting messages. So this one is from Shanna Mokler, Travis Barker's ex. She basically tells her to stay the F away from Travis because she has a family now. And the reason she's saying that is because Lindsay and Travis were seen smooching on New Year's that January. And apparently Travis got embarrassed and cut it off though. And then here's the messages with Paris. Feel free to read. Basically, Lindsay accuses Paris of giving Paris Hilton made up horrible stories about her. And then Paris says she doesn't even hang out with Perez. And then calls Lindsay a lesbo and bipolar, which don't sound like insults to me, but I guess they were at the time. And then Lindsay calls her a C word and tells her to go suck something, which those do sound like insults. The good news in April is that at least the Hillary hating has stopped because they both said they were so over their feud and that it was a long time ago, which I'm guessing since Lindsay is now having a problem with Paris, her issues with Hillary look like child's play. In May of 2007, a video comes out showing Lindsay indulging in some nose candy, and a source said that she could do 20 lines in one night. Impressive. They also said she loved to strip for people and look at herself naked in the mirror, so overall, just not a glowing review. May 11th, 2007, Georgia Rule is released, and May 26th, Lindsay's arrested for a DUI. She was only 20 at the time. She ran her car into a curb. And Lindsay said that she just started hanging out with the bad crowd, and it was actually the first time that she had tried drugs. And the police did find some nose candy in her vehicle. DUI did not stop Miss Lindsay, though, because she's partying the next day, and that's where we get these cute pictures of her sleeping in the car. Then in May 2007, Lindsay goes to rehab for a second time, this time at the Promises Treatment Center in Malibu. She was there for 45 days, and while she's in there in June, Paris is on Larry King Live, and he asks her about Lindsay, and she says she has no friends in rehab. After she leaves in early July, Lindsay decides to get an alcohol monitoring bracelet for herself, and we see her with Paris at the 4th of July party, so people are wondering if they're friends again. And also, Lindsay was supposedly only drinking energy drinks and smoking cigarettes at that party, so staying sober. So also in July of 2007, after she gets out of rehab, there are rumors going around that Lindsay is hooking up with Chris Angel after his breakup with Cameron Diaz. And then July 24th, 2007, Lindsay is arrested for a DUI, again, 2 weeks after rehab. So a woman called the police and said that Lindsay was trying to run her down with her car. Turns out it was her ex-assistant who had just quit, and then her assistant's mother and another woman who knew them in the car. And Lindsay actually had her license suspended at this point, and it was not her car that she was driving, so both not good. Her assistant's mom drove to the police department where Lindsay followed them, and then they were able to test Lindsay for sobriety, which she promptly failed. And this is also when they found a Clinique card with some suspicious white powder on it that she claimed wasn't hers. But it was in the back pocket of her jeans, so she also got charged with possession. July 27th, 2007, I Know Who Killed Me is released. And in August 2007, Lindsay goes to rehab for a third time, and next in the lineup is the Cirque Lodge Treatment Center in Utah. And then on August 15th, while she's in rehab, a poster is put up outside Paris Hilton's house with Lindsay on the cover for Lost Dog. As you can probably see, it calls her anorexic, says her eyes are dilated with it, which is a reference to the drugs, obviously. Her breed is listed as a freckle-bellied Coke Terrier. It also makes a reference to her car chase incident and makes some other nose candy jokes, saying that she'll answer to the call of dime bags 2 for $10, and that she might be carrying her favorite toys, a little white bag, and her favorite ankle bracelet. We cannot confirm whether Paris made this or not. Could have been anyone who just put it on her gate, but obviously it doesn't look good. August 23rd, 2007, Lindsay pleads guilty to use of nose candy and DUI. She was obviously still in rehab during this plea, though. And they actually got a pretty good deal because the cop that found the Clinique card with the mysterious powder on it thought that it was a crushed breath mint at first, so he threw it away. But then he figured it out and got it back out of the trash, but then the evidence was contaminated, so they couldn't use it. And she is sentenced to 1 day in jail. Also 10 days of community service, 3 years of probation, a fine, and entering an alcohol treatment program. And on October 5th, 2007, Lindsay leaves rehab. And then November 15th, she serves hard time in the county jail for a total of 84 minutes. They claim that there was jail overcrowding, but I'm guessing they just didn't want to jail Lindsay Lohan. Then in January of 2008, Heath Ledger dies, and Lindsay's mom claims that Lindsay was actually dating him. It sounds more like seeing him, though, because they were very close, and apparently she would drop her off at his house. But of course, we know he wasn't dating her exclusively because he was also seeing Mary-Kate Olsen around this time and some other girls, so not exclusive. So in January of 2008, she's spotted with Brody Jenner, and of course, there are rumors that they're going out. And in February, there are rumors that Lindsay and Paris are fighting again because they were at Timbaland's party and they both wanted to get their music produced by him. Then March 28, 2008, Lindsay's newest movie, Chapter 27, about the murder of John Lennon comes out. And shortly after that, there are rumors that Lindsay is seeing Sean Lennon, who is John Lennon's son. On May 8th, 2008, Lindsay is accused of stealing an $11,000 fur coat from a club. It was a Columbia student's, and obviously she wanted it back. She said she left it where everyone else was leaving their coats. It was a private event, and Lindsay picked it up and took it on the way out. She thought it was just lost or something, but then, lo and behold, she sees Lindsay in the tabloids wearing her coat and leaving the same club. She had to call the club and Lindsay's lawyer multiple times to get the coat back, but when she did, she said it reeked of cigs and alcohol and had a burnt hole in it. Then in July of 2008, Lindsay is hospitalized after being hit by a motorcycle. Don't worry, she's fine. And then in September of 2008, Lindsay confirms that she's dating Samantha Ronson. I think she goes by Sam, though. She's a DJ. People called them Sa-Man and Leslo, basically making fun of them for being gay. Where's the joke? And this was Lindsay's first relationship with a girl, by the way. Also in September of 2008, Lindsay appears on Ugly Betty. Reports of her behavior included that she showed up with a ton of people, which I feel like should be somewhat expected if it's Lindsay Lohan, but Lindsay's side said that it was only her manager, her assistant, Sam Ronson, and her sober companion from AA, and then maybe their publicist showed up a couple times, but that's not that many people, I don't think. They also said that she was trashing the dressing room and constantly smoking, but Lindsay's team said that they were sharing the dressing room with another cast for another show, so it could easily have been ruined by them. They also reported some other weird behaviors like cutting pictures of herself out of tabloids and refusing to go on set until America Ferrera was already on there, which they said they thought was a power move. And you guessed it, America Ferrera and Lindsay didn't really like each other. Coincidentally, she was playing America's high school nemesis, and then there was a pantsing incident. So in this scene, America was supposed to be getting revenge on her high school bully by pulling down her pants like the bully had done to her. And on America's side, they said that when she went to pull Lindsay's pants down, Lindsay had decided to go commando, thereby flashing everyone. And personally, I would hope that on a set of a show, somebody in the production team or assistants or someone would make sure that she was wearing underwear for that scene. On Lindsay's side, though, they said that it was a rehearsal for the scene and America wasn't supposed to actually pull her pants down, but Lindsay was wearing underwear. She was wearing a G-string, but she was so embarrassed when America pulled her pants down that she cried. So Lindsay actually didn't do all of the episodes she was supposed to do for Ugly Betty. Okay, that's the end of part 1. I just separate them into chunks because I know an hour-long video is pretty intimidating and takes a lot longer for me to upload. But part 2 is already on my channel, so go ahead and go watch it. If you already have some thoughts that you want to comment on this one, feel free to like this video, subscribe if you want to stick around for more series, and go watch part 2.